Welcome to The Explainer. Buying an existing business, one that's already operating with customers, revenue, and systems humming along, is basically a cheat code for wealth building. It's widely considered one of the absolute fastest ways to do it. But, and this is a massive but, there's a catch. Not every business out there is actually a good business.
So before you buy a business, stop. Seriously, it sounds super simple, right? But it's an absolutely vital warning. Making an emotional, uninformed decision without doing rock-solid due diligence, it can and will ruin you financially.
We're talking about a mistake that could literally cost you thousands or even millions of dollars. Look, it is so incredibly easy to get blinded by the hype, the flashy vanity metrics, a gorgeous website, or just a really charismatic seller promising you the moon. But here's the reality check. Successful acquisitions are never built on excitement. They are built entirely on due diligence.
So let's turn this massive 15-step checklist into a clear, strategic journey. We've got 5 core phases on our agenda today: the high-stakes reality, the financial reality check, looking under the hood, the art of the deal, and securing your new asset. Let's dive right in.
Phase 1. The high-stakes reality, building the foundation.
The absolute golden rule of acquiring a business is setting rigorous criteria right out of the gate. Before you even look at a single deal, you have to draw your boundaries. Ask yourself, what specific industry am I targeting? What is my absolute hard budget? Am I wanting a local brick-and-mortar shop or a highly scalable online business? How much time can I realistically dedicate to this? And hey, am I hunting for immediate cash flow or am I playing the long game for growth? Pinning down these answers right now completely saves you from making disastrous emotional decisions down the line.
Moving on to Phase 2, the financial reality check, digging into the numbers. Okay, so this is where we shift from what you're looking for to verifying what a business is actually doing. And honestly, this is the critical phase where the vast majority of deals just totally fall apart. First up, verify those finances. You've got to demand at least 3 years of financial statements and tax returns. Do the numbers actually match the story the seller is telling you? Next, drill down into cash flow. Remember, a quote-unquote profitable business can still go completely bankrupt if its cash flow is terrible. You need to know exactly how much cash is hitting the bank every single month and whether those customers are actually paying their invoices on time.
Always keep this mantra in mind. Revenue is vanity, profit is reality. You've got to watch like a hawk for these weird temporary spikes in top-line revenue. Sellers love to use those to artificially pump up the asking price. What you want, what you absolutely need, is stable, verifiable profit, not some financial mirage.
Now, let's talk about customer concentration, because this is a massive red alert kind of risk. Imagine you just bought this thriving marketing agency, right? Only to peek under the hood and realize a single client makes up 60% of all the revenue. What happens if that one client just walks away tomorrow or finds someone cheaper? Boom. The entire business collapses overnight. For real stability, you absolutely must have a diversified customer base.
Which brings us to Phase 3, looking under the hood, operations and legalities.
Here's where we get our hands dirty and figure out if this business can actually survive without the current owner holding it all together with duct tape. You really need to actively poke at the environment here. Is the market actually growing? How are they managing inventory day to day? But most importantly, you've got to assess the team. Who are the vital players actually keeping the lights on? What are they getting paid? And crucially, are they gonna jump ship the second you take over? Because losing your key people on day one, that'll completely tank your new investment.
What you're really looking for here are systems, not chaos. You want to buy a well-oiled machine that runs on standard operating procedures, solid software, and documented workflows. Think about it. If the whole operation relies entirely on the current owner's personal relationships or their unique expertise, and all the vital info's just locked up in their head, man, that transition is going to be incredibly messy, maybe even impossible.
And listen, you can never, ever skip the legal deep dive. We are talking business licenses, commercial leases, intellectual property, supplier agreements, the whole shebang. You have to go digging for any pending lawsuits too. Because let me tell you, a hidden legal problem today is 100% guaranteed to become an incredibly expensive nightmare for you tomorrow.
You also need to ensure the physical assets you're paying top dollar for actually exist and, work. Get out there and physically inspect the equipment, the inventory, the vehicles, the tech infrastructure. Do not just take their word for it. The golden rule of acquisitions is super simple here. Trust but verify.
All right, phase 4, the art of the deal, valuation and negotiation.
This phase right here is all about finding your leverage at the negotiating table. First things first, you got to uncover the seller's true motivation for selling. Are they just happily retiring to play golf, or are they quietly trying to bail out of a sinking ship? Really look for consistency in their story. From there, you figure out the valuation and how to actually structure the deal. And remember, deal structure is way more than just the final purchase price. Building in things like seller financing, earnouts, and strict non-compete agreements, that's going to significantly reduce your overall risk.
Never, ever blindly rely on the seller's asking price. You've got to use multiple valuation methods to zero in on the real truth. Looking at EBITDA gives you a solid view of core earnings, while seller's discretionary earnings, or SDE, really shows you the actual cash flow you'd take home if you're running it yourself. Contrast those numbers with top-line revenue multiples and asset-based valuations. Honestly, if it's a substantial deal, just hire an independent valuation expert, because even a fantastic business turns into a terrible investment if you overpay for it.
While you're crunching those numbers, challenge yourself to look past how it's performing right now. Ask yourself, can we realistically increase prices? Are there totally untapped markets out there, or just super obvious ways to level up their marketing? The absolute biggest returns always come from businesses where you can spot clear, actionable growth potential from day one. Which leads us to our final phase, phase 5, securing your new asset, the transition. Listen closely. The acquisition absolutely does not end the second you sign those papers. You have to nail the handover so your brilliant new purchase doesn't just fall apart the next week. You need a meticulous transition plan. That means figuring out exactly how to communicate with nervous employees and jittery customers, nailing down those crucial vendor introductions, and safely handling all the tech transfers. A perfectly smooth transition is what ultimately protects the massive value you've just bought. And please, do not try to do all of this alone. You need to build a ruthless advisory team. Get business brokers, top-tier accountants, specialized attorneys, and tax advisors involved. You need these hardcore experts in your corner to spot the hidden traps and liabilities that you're just inevitably going to overlook once deal fever sets in. Ultimately, the end game here isn't just buying a business so you can slap CEO on your LinkedIn profile. The real goal is buying the right business at the right price, equipped with a crystal-clear strategy for growth. Having that disciplined decision-making and rigorously sticking to a comprehensive framework like this, those are the true keys to building lasting wealth.